If I'm being honest, sometimes I get really offended by the type of men that hit on me sometimes.
People be like, she's a gold digger. Why would I not want a guy that can provide financial stability for my future family?
If your wife can spend more than you make, like you need to make more money.
Modern women have these crazy expectations. They expect a man to do everything while they lay back.
I did things with the guy who treated me like a princess and would have been the best husband to me.
Should a man pay for everything when it comes to the woman he's courting and the woman he wants to marry and be the mother of his children? Absolutely.
Absolutely insane. I think these people forget what a relationship is actually about. Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
How much money does a guy need to make in order to be with you, long term?
$250,000 a year, minimum.
Okay, $250,000 a year. What do you bring to the table?
A lot of things.
Name them.
This is one of them.
So that's all you got?
I'm out of here. I gotta get me found.
You can get that from any girl, though.
No, I got a lot more than that.
Genuine question, are the UK men not embarrassed, or actually men of the West? Aren't you so embarrassed that women are now moving to the Middle East to find better men? Middle Eastern men are actually stunting on the men in the West. Like, we are moving across the world to find better men because you men are just such princesses and we can't deal with it anymore. You have no sense of providing. And this isn't about being a gold digger. Like, I buy everything on myself and I'm happy to do that. But this is about more than that. This is about you guys actually being men. Like, you're little princesses. Crazy to me. Have a think about it. Maybe change. Maybe change. My advice is change. Learn a thing or two from the Middle Eastern man.
To be honest, I don't really think men care where Western women go to find their man. These guys aren't acting like princesses. They just want to avoid getting used by Western women, especially those who have nothing to offer in return. Men are just tired of one-sided relationships where they're expected to give everything while receiving little or no value in return. Many men simply want a partner who brings something meaningful to the table. Modern men are becoming more aware of their worth and are no longer willing to tolerate relationships that drain them, both emotionally and financially. Instead, they're seeking partnerships built on mutual effort, respect, and genuine connection, and they're not afraid to walk away from anything less.
The truth is that most women lose a good guy because of the bad advice from their toxic, single, and jealous friends.
I agree.
Should a man pay for everything when it comes to the woman he's courting and the woman he wants to marry and be the mother of his children? Absolutely. He should want to never let her hand touch the bill. He should want to spoil her and love her and cater to all of her wants and her needs. Granted that she is also being the most amazing, beautiful, divine partner that she can be towards him. Should he? Yes. Can he always? No. I understand the economic limitations of today's society. I'm very, very aware of them. But regardless of whether he can or can't, inside, he should want to more than anything.
Are you stupid?
Women want the benefits of traditionalism without reciprocating. It's a scam. Now, in the scenarios she's giving, it depends on how much the man is making and if he wants to do such a thing. If that woman is worthy of such treatment, bringing a man value, and he has the funds to do it, he will have no issue doing so at all. But again, beauty fades. The laws are against men, and these modern women today are not the same ones as back then. So for most men today, it's a big hell no. The harsh reality is that many men today don't see the value in such arrangements anymore, especially when they're fully aware of the risks. Divorce courts favor women heavily, leaving men to pay alimony and lose assets. This isn't about men being unwilling to provide. It's about men being unwilling to be taken advantage of. Back then, traditional women brought loyalty, kindness. Today, modern women expect traditional benefits, but want to contribute nothing more than their presence.
One day when I returned home from work, I found that my house was empty of furniture and clothes. My family was gone, my dog was gone, our bank accounts were emptied of tens of thousands of dollars. My wife had run away without any warning or explanation, and like Kevin McAllister's experience in the movie Home Alone, my family simply disappeared. She hasn't spoken to me since, but after years of fighting in court and through state agencies, I now have my children every other week. And while everything may look okay now, it did not come easy. Despite having taken all of our money, I learned that my wife was using a legal aid service funded by public and private grants to zealously represent her while attempting to steal away my entire life. He made multiple attempts to restrain me from my own children and my home. There was no domestic violence. My point is that services paid for with our tax dollars were weaponized against me, and in my story, this was only the beginning. Also worth mentioning, the legislation that one thinks would protect people from false allegations of domestic violence, the supposed third-degree felony, is completely unenforced, leaving the targeted parent to defend himself from the indefensible, blindsided, without similar legal support from public grants, and immediately assumed to be guilty before proven innocent. Today, I'm an advocate. I've experienced firsthand how unwilling the family law system is to demonstrate flexibility, schedule timely hearings, enforce orders, return phone calls, or otherwise share communication to share agency policies, and to seek clarity or correct misunderstandings. It is now a world in which, to these agencies, a family is worth more financially in conflict than in harmony.
Weddings are just a fashion show for women to show up with their friends. And yet, women are so willfully ignorant to ask why men don't want to get married in this society anymore. Greed has destroyed the American family. Men are destroyed to extract their wealth. Never will I put myself through this. It's a travesty how lopsided family courts are against fathers. This is exactly why men are refusing to marry in the West. They can wake up one day and have everything they've ever worked for taken away, simply because a woman feels unhappy. Divorce laws in many Western countries are heavily skewed against men, leaving them vulnerable to losing their homes, savings, and even custody of their children without any real justification. Take this man, for example. His wife took everything and ran away without even giving him a single explanation as to why. Stories like his are far too common, and they highlight the imbalance in how marriage and divorce are handled. For many men, the risks far outweigh the rewards. They're expected to provide and sacrifice, yet there's no guarantee of loyalty or even a fair resolution if things go wrong. The emotional toll of such betrayals, coupled with the financial devastation, makes marriage in the West feel more like a gamble than a partnership.
My intuition is already telling me everything that I already need to know.
If a woman's intuition was everything that it's supposedly cracked up to be, then there wouldn't be so many divorced women out there. Not to mention all those single mothers.
If your wife can spend more than you make, like you need to make more money, 150 maybe to 250,000 a year would be comfortable for sure. The more the merrier.
300,000. Like, I guess if they made less than that, I feel like we wouldn't have the lifestyle I wanted, so I would work. Life's expensive.
Anywhere from 70 to 100K. I would have to say 127. $500,000. Is that bad?
Probably 150 to $250,000 a year.
Ideally, my husband needs to be making like 650,000.
I just love when modern women throw out these completely unrealistic numbers they expect their man to make in a year. These are clearly women who have no idea about the type of man they're trying to attract. Some of them are out here looking for men in the top 1%, as if those men are everywhere and just waiting to scoop them up. What's even crazier is that they often bring very little to the table themselves, but still feel entitled to these high-earning men. Has it ever occurred to them that the reason they're single is because of these delusional standards? A man making that kind of money is likely looking for a partner who adds peace, value, and stability to his life, not someone who's only interested in his paycheck. These women don't understand that men in that top tier have their pick of partners and aren't going to choose someone with an inflated sense of entitlement and unrealistic demands. That's just a reality.
What I'm saying is, if women didn't like being approached by men, why wouldn't they just go to gay clubs?
I don't really find nothing about this. I just think if you go to a gay club, then obviously first of all, I don't think it's respectful to...
Gotcha.
People be like, she's a gold digger. She wants a guy with money. I'm trying to look for my husband and the father of my children Why would I not want a guy that has a provider mindset? Why would I not want a guy that can provide financial stability for my future family? So yeah, I'm going to make sure that whoever I am dating to be the father of my children and my husband, I'm going to make sure that he is financially stable so that my children don't suffer.
Okay, not to be shallow or anything, but if I'm being honest, sometimes I get really offended by the type of men that hit on me sometimes. Like, yeah, is it only me?
A lot of women who say stuff like this are actually average women, but they don't see themselves as average because they're hiding behind a pile of makeup. That makeup creates an illusion, making them believe they're some type of baddie, when in reality, they're just like everybody else. The issue is, they've bought into the illusion themselves, and as a result, they get offended when average guys approach them because they believe they're royalty. They genuinely think only the best of the best, high-value men, should even dare to approach them. But here's the thing. Isn't it just common sense that if the type of men you want aren't approaching you, it probably means you're not on their radar for a reason? Whether it's your attitude, demeanor, or what you bring to the table, something isn't adding up. High-value men aren't just looking for looks or a facade. They're looking for substance, qualities that can't be masked by makeup.
This is how much a man has to make to be considered a high earner based on 400 women that voted. 7% of these women said that a man making over 70K is considered a high earner in their book. 35% of the women said that over 100K is considered a high earner. 42% of women said that 200K and over is considered a high earner, and 16% said over 300K is considered a high earner. You can also look at this data and say that 84% of these women believe a man making over 200K is considered a high earner. Please keep in mind that when I collected this data, a lot of my audience was coming from New York, Los Angeles, and San Diego, where the cost of living and the pay is generally higher.
So I was just thinking about this, and let me know what y'all think. But there has been times where I will be talking to a man, and I won't be feeling it, and people will be like, why? And I'll be like, he's just too nice. And people will look at me like I'm stupid. They'll be like, what do you mean he's too nice? You want somebody mean? And I figured it out. It's not that I want somebody mean. It's just what I'm looking for in a man is masculine energy that is dominant over my masculine energy so it can bring out my feminine energy. Does that make sense? If I feel like I have more masculine energy than you do, then I feel like you can't really be dominant over me and I can't be submissive and my feminine energy can't come out. Does that make sense?
Well, if that's the case, then I need a feminine woman to bring out my masculine energy. Women love to say they need a man to bring out their femininity because they aren't naturally feminine themselves. Let's be real. Either those qualities are in a woman or they're not. Femininity isn't something you flip on like a switch when a man comes around. It's a core part of who you are. When women say this, what they're really expressing is unresolved trauma or emotional baggage they haven't dealt with. Instead of taking accountability for their lack of femininity, they shift the blame onto men, expecting a man to fix them or make them feel safe enough to act feminine. But here's the problem. No one wants to sign up to be a therapist in a relationship. Men aren't out here looking to heal someone's past wounds just so they can experience basic femininity. That's a personal journey they need to address on their own.
Men are typically expected to court women, approach women, ask them out on dates, maybe pick them up, pay for dates, make the first move, etc. What are women expected to do to build a relationship? So I'm talking about that initial stage. What are women expected to do?
Wait, so are we saying that like like he takes you out on a date? Like?
No, he's like, so like when you're like, let's say like the first date, like usually on a first date, like a guy picks you up, like he takes you there and he's like expected to pay, but like what are like you expected to do kind of like in these like dating like scenarios?
Just be yourself. Bring good conversation. Be yourself, like Like, are you expected to impress him? Do you want to do a party trick? I don't know.
I feel like
I really wonder how these types of questions would be answered if we took away the word like.
Combining pretty with intelligent, strong, successful, slaying at life, you've got a very terrifying woman on your hands.
Okay, and what does that have to do with anything?
A very, not easy woman on your hands, right? Men don't like that.
Don't they?
Men do not like me. Men are very, very terrified of me.
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
And the men who do like me, the ones that are attracted to me, are unavailable. Men who are in relationships actively.
Has one ever taken a moment to consider why that might be?
And uggo weirdos.
Here's a thought that one might not like. People tend to attract what they are. So they usually attract the unavailable if they themselves are unavailable. And as for the latter, well, I think some introspection might be due in this case.
Because at the end of the day, I am merely just a fantasy. I am not a real human because of the pretty and scary.
Right. It sure is amazing what some people will tell themselves, isn't it?
Madam, I don't think men are terrified of you. They're just tired and annoyed by you. Men aren't afraid of successful women, and they aren't afraid of confident women either. What men are not attracted to are combative women who bring nothing but stress and arguments to the table. She's right about one thing, though. Men absolutely do not like a woman who's not easy to deal with. When men see a woman as hard to deal with, they see a lifetime of headaches and drama. And honestly, who wants to sign up for that? It's not about being submissive or weak. It's about being cooperative, understanding, and knowing how to create harmony in a relationship. And this woman just seems like she's bringing attitude and red flags. What's worse is that many of these women mistake being argumentative and difficult for being strong or independent, when in reality, it's just exhausting. Men aren't looking for someone to fight with. They're looking for someone to build with. She's just going to push men away.
Here's why the guy should always pay for the first date. Okay, so it's pre-date and post-date expenses. I'm gonna start with pre-date. Guys, post-date, a lot more taxing. But the pre-date are pretty self-explanatory and they're probably unique to each person. These are the things a woman goes through to feel the most confident on a date. I don't want to hear in the comments like if this hits the wrong algorithm. We don't ask you to do those things. I don't give a fuck. You've been conditioned, and to feel most comfortable, we're gonna do these things. It's making sure your nails are done. You like the way your hair looks. Taking the time to shave. It's the cost of an Uber. Last time I did something like this, somebody was like, no, the guy's coming to pick me up. I don't know how safe that is. I'd prefer to take the Uber and I'd prefer to have it on my account. It's the lack of feeling of safety when you're meeting a guy for the first time. Teeth whitening. It's the time, resources, energy. I love getting ready, but like girls know, getting ready for a first date, having the outfit, feeling confident, there are steps involved. And here are the post-date expenses. And I need to book an emergency session with your therapist. You are going to need a back brace from carrying the conversation. And I need a ticket to a comedy show just to prove that funny men exist. It's funny, I was looking up like male comedians. I wanted to find one that was like popular but not problematic. Nearly impossible. Stop saying women aren't funny. Women are the funniest right now. I wanted to put Nikki Glaser up there. You're gonna need a teddy bear just to save you from all the nightmares you're gonna have from what you saw growing under his fingernails. You're gonna need to drink it off with some friends. You're gonna need to like douse your whole body in mouthwash because of the esophagus kiss that he gave you at the end of the night. This is just for the pain. Right, I'm not a man hater. I don't want to hear any of that, but the dating landscape for women right now sucks. So this is just my funny take on it. I hope this hits the women's algorithm and not the men's, because damn, they can't handle it. Anyway, let me know if you agree, if you disagree, if you thought I missed anything, and yeah.
Basically, she's saying she feels entitled to a man paying for the first date because she does basic necessities, things she would have done if she were going anywhere else. Let's break this down. Doing your hair, makeup and nails, or picking out a nice outfit are personal choices and standard grooming habits. These are things you do for yourself, not for anyone else. Expecting a man to foot the bill just because you put effort into your appearance is not only entitled, but also makes no sense. By that logic, should men expect women to compensate them for going to the gym, grooming themselves, or showing up looking presentable? Of course not. Men are also putting in effort, whether it's dressing well, planning the date, or even managing the nerves of trying to impress someone. This entitlement highlights a bigger issue, the transactional mindset many women bring into dating. It's insane.